Seeing Lily sound asleep on the bed, Alex cautiously tiptoed towards the wardrobe to take out his expensive pajamas, a set he'd had for years. He let out a long sigh, heading to the bathroom, feeling utterly exhausted. It was another late night at work for him. Alex and Lily had been married for almost 3 years. Life was relatively stable, thanks to Alex's salary combined with Lily's income from her online business. Originally from Haiduong, they had managed to buy an apartment about 10 kilometers from the city center. Many times, looking at his wife, his heart would ache. If it weren't for him, she would probably have had a much smoother, happier life. Even more heartbreaking was their first child, who hadn't even had a chance to be born before leaving this world. Holding his wife's positive pregnancy test, Alex was ecstatic, embracing her tightly, laughing with tears streaming down his face. After countless days of hoping, their little angel had finally arrived. They thought that with their finances stabilizing and a new family member on the way, they wouldn't have to worry much. But life dealt them a cruel blow. On one of her delivery runs, Lily was in an accident. By the time Alex arrived at the hospital, the doctor had shaken his head. His unborn child couldn't be saved, and Lily faced even greater difficulty conceiving. People often say, man proposes, God disposes. With his intelligence and quick wit, Alex was quickly promoted, and his career became increasingly smooth. He was well liked by colleagues, and his boss appreciated his work ethic and problem-solving skills. Lily also had good fortune, and her online business flourished. At 8 p.m., he looked at the clock. It was already past midnight. He gently pulled the blanket and snuggled in. Wrapping his arms around his wife, he felt all the storms had finally passed. Their new home only lacked the pitter-patter of tiny feet. The light from the street lamp made it hard for him to sleep. He had to draw the curtains to make the room more comfortable. The hazy shadows made Alex drift into a flashback. He remembered when they first got married, they had to live in a small rented room in Minkai. That room was far from his workplace, but it was cheap. The row of rooms had only one straight path, and the wall at the end was overgrown with dense trees, so no one relied on their neighbors. Getting to work from the countryside, 10 kilometers was quick, but in Hanoi, during rush hour, traffic jams were terrible. As newlyweds, they didn't have much spare cash. Yet, colleagues kept asking about their honeymoon, if they had bought a house yet, or when they'd have children, putting immense pressure on them both. During that period, there was a lot of construction work, so Alex had to take night shifts. Though it was hard, working nights brought in extra money to support their life. Alone at home, Lily would hear knocking at the door in the middle of the night. At first, she thought it was just the college boys from the dorm next door playing pranks, but she knew deep down it wasn't. One day, annoyed, she got up, turned on the light, and opened the door, but there was no one there. She was furious but stayed silent, storming back inside to complain to Alex. He laughed, almost choking, and teased her. "Are you missing me so much you're dreaming things? Everyone knows you're a tigress. Who would dare to mess with you?" "Shut up, I'm serious. It happens repeatedly, sometimes 10 times after midnight. Aren't you afraid a ghost will snatch me?" she retorted. "Don't worry, my love. I'll be on night duty soon, so I'll be home. No ghost would dare to scare my wife," he reassured her. Lily, knowing her husband didn't believe her, didn't bother saying anything more. Alex, meanwhile, couldn't care less. He'd just turn on his phone to watch movies, completely ignoring her complaints. For the first week they lived there, it was the same every day. By the second week, things got even worse. Before this, Lily had been an absolute non-believer in ghosts or the supernatural. She remembered clearly that Saturday afternoon, she was busy cooking, waiting for Alex to come home, when suddenly there was a knock at the door. Wiping her hands on her apron, she walked over and called out, "Who is it? Just a moment." Outside the door stood a man in shorts. He was slightly hunched over, but she could still see his thick, glass-like glasses. He held a large knife, then looked up and roared, "Get out of my room now." Lily shrieked, then fainted completely. When she regained consciousness, she saw the room inside and out filled with people. All their belongings were gone. People outside were splashing water, while inside, rice was being poured. She couldn't move, just watching as tiles and bricks fell onto her body, one by one. She felt agonizing pain, struggling to break free, but something was holding her tightly. As everything slowly went dark, she suddenly heard Alex's voice faintly beside her. "Wake up, my love, wake up. It's me, your husband." "What's wrong?" Lily opened her eyes, startled. It was a dream, but why did it feel so real? She rubbed her eyes and looked outside. The knife was still there, deeply embedded in the wooden door. She burst into tears, grabbing Alex. "Do you see the knife there? What knife? Alex turned to look but saw nothing. Lily rubbed her eyes again, and indeed there was no knife. Alex hugged her tightly and said, "You must be exhausted, my love. Lie down and rest. I'll finish cooking dinner." "Dinner? I've already cooked it and was waiting for you to eat." "Where? This pot of rice is soaking wet. You call this cooking, you silly goose." Alex pointed to the electric rice cooker, which was plugged in but not turned on. The stove was also cold. Feeling tired and dealing with such strange occurrences, Alex comforted her with a few words and prepared to cook. Lily lay down, pulling the blanket over her, then called her mother to tell her about the terrifying dream. After dinner, she immediately made Alex take her shopping. She returned with bagua mirrors and some red fabric, excitedly preparing something. Alex chuckled. "You just sit there grinning and won't even help me hang these," she snapped. "Do you want this ghost to choke me to death before you believe? How annoying, not helping and just sitting there smiling." Alex tried hard to suppress his laughter. "Well, I didn't say I'd help, did I? Besides, how would I know what your mom told you to do?" Hearing Alex argue, Lily became even more furious. "Fine, I won't ask for your help then." Alone, she climbed up and down but couldn't hammer the nail into the wall. After a while, Alex stood up, went outside, and lit a cigarette. Suddenly, the chair tilted, nearly throwing him off. Instinctively, he quickly grabbed his wife and they both fell. Fortunately, he cushioned her fall. "Oh, my love, let me do it. You almost got hurt and I'd be heartbroken." Neighbors, seeing the young couple struggling to hammer a nail, peeked out but said nothing. The young men just grumbled and returned to their rooms. The entire row of rooms had only one female occupant at the very end. Most residents here were students, and finding such cheap accommodation in the capital was extremely rare. Only after Alex and Lily finished hammering the nail did someone come to talk about their room. It was an old woman, always dressed in dark clothes. During the day, she carried a bag, scavenging for empty bottles and cans in every alley. At night, she sat by her door until 1 a.m., humming lullabies, cradling an old, worn-out rag doll, giggling to herself. People in the dorm said the landlord let her live there for free. She must have gone through some terrible ordeal to end up like this. In this luxurious city, how many kind-hearted landlords like him were there? Alex and Lily hurried over, greeting her respectfully. The old woman smiled, pointing at their room, her eyes seemingly ignoring them both. She asked, "How long have you two been here?" "About half a month, Auntie. Is there something wrong?" As she spoke, she ran her fingers through her graying hair, revealing a mess of leaves and dandruff. She pointed at their door and then at the bagua mirror. "That won't work. You'll have to run soon. A fire will burn your bed, burn everything." "Fire? What are you talking about, Auntie? What do you mean?" Seeing the strange old woman and her nonsensical words, Alex and Lily stood there, bewildered. They watched her disappear behind the room door, then exchanged glances and burst into laughter. "Did you see that, love? Her hair was full of leaves and dandruff, maybe even lice. SHH, keep your voice down, someone might hear." The young couple went inside and closed the door. The low corrugated iron roof made the midday summer heat oppressive. They opened the windows, but the hot air still streamed in. Alex was busy with his demanding work. Lily, meanwhile, was buried in customer orders. When everything was settled, the clock struck midnight. They looked at each other and smiled. Lily took off her pajamas, waving at Alex. He shrugged, taking off his headphones and placing them on his desk. He always wore headphones while working because music made everything better. Reaching out to turn off the light, he jumped onto the bed, hugged his wife, and chuckled. As their lovemaking was in full swing, there was a knock at the door outside. Over the past few days, when Alex switched from night to day shifts, there was nothing unusual. But tonight, it was real and the timing was all wrong. Mid-climax, Alex abruptly stopped, annoyed, and asked, "Who's there?" He deliberately kept his voice low, as neighbors were fast asleep. Speaking too loudly would wake everyone. Outside, only the gentle wind rustled the leaves. Footsteps, coupled with Lily's soft whimpers of fear. She pulled the blanket tighter around her body, huddling in the corner of the bed. He reassured her, "Don't be afraid, it's probably just those youngsters messing with us. You stay put and I'll go teach them a lesson," he cautiously replied. Alex then grabbed a fruit knife. He tiptoed gently towards the door. Peeking through the peephole, he saw nothing outside. Suddenly, Alex and Lily both flinched at a sound. He reached out to turn on the light switch. Inside the house, a pure white cat had appeared out of nowhere. It walked around, staring at Alex, its long fur almost touching the ground, and its black eyes looked strangely eerie. Lily trembled involuntarily. "Don't be scared, it's probably a neighbor's cat that jumped in." "Oh my God, love, why is it bleeding?" "Look." Alex slowly knelt to observe. Indeed, it was bleeding. There was a knife on one side. As Alex reached out to touch its head, the cat's fur bristled and it growled, then ran towards the back. The ceiling light in the middle of the room went out, plunging everything into darkness. The room was too dark for him to see anything. He fumbled for his phone for a long time. When he finally managed to turn on the flashlight, the cat had vanished. "Lily, Lily!" Alex frantically called for his wife, but she didn't answer. The room grew cold and the cat disappeared. Suddenly, Lily's voice softly called from the bathroom. "Husband, wait a minute, I'm sharpening a knife." "Sharpening a knife? What for? Don't tell me you're sharpening a knife now." Alex quickly rushed to the bathroom door, but it was locked tight. He called out softly, but his wife didn't answer. He turned on his phone's flashlight, shining it around. The electric bulb flickered continuously, making Alex extremely uneasy. "What's going on, darling? Is everything all right?" Alex heard a sound and thought it was the landlord outside, perhaps someone complaining about electricity. Usually, the landlord only came in the afternoon to check the utilities. The sound of sharpening grew louder, and the wooden door creaked open. Only then did Alex realize it wasn't the landlord outside, but the same disheveled old woman, carrying her dirty rag doll. Without waiting for Alex to open the door fully, she lunged forward, throwing the doll to the ground. She pulled his arm, shouting loudly, "Come out, you devil, come out here." Alex quickly ran forward, shouting, "Auntie, please let go." The old woman's trembling hand gripped Lily's hair tightly, her eyes glowing with anger. She shrieked, "Are you blind? Are you blind? This devil is trying to kill you. Auntie, let go of my wife, let go of her." Before Alex could finish his sentence, Lily lunged forward. The sharp knife narrowly missed him. She had intended to stab him, but he barely dodged it. The old woman, though appearing weak, delivered a forceful blow to Lily, making her head hit the tiled floor. Even though Lily had missed stabbing him, Alex couldn't stand seeing his wife being hit like that. He rushed to protect Lily, but felt both his hands being yanked backward. He cried out in alarm, seeing a white shadow tightly gripping him. The old woman cackled maniacally, pointing at Alex's wife, saying, "I've been looking for you for a long time. Today you won't escape, you she-devil." Lily shrieked in a voice that wasn't her own. "What do you want to do to me, you wretched old woman? I knew you'd find me, so I sent my child away. Don't you dare try to catch her." The old woman didn't back down. "Then don't blame me." With that, the strange old woman waved her hand in the air, drawing a circle. The circle emitted a dazzling golden light. The entire room was suddenly filled with an overwhelming sweet scent, not unlike the scent of milk flowers. Looking closer, one could even detect the smell of pollen. From within the circle, a large, delicate white butterfly flew out. The old woman threw a talisman. 2 talismans immediately flew to tightly bind Lily's body. Lily's eyes rolled back, and her normally fair skin turned a ghastly gray. The old woman hissed softly, "Eat, eat, my dear demon. It's been a long time since I caught a devil for you to eat. You must be starving, aren't you?" Suddenly, Lily's eyes widened in fear. Her body emitted a reddish glow and then suddenly trembled. The white butterfly flew around, faster and faster. It turned out that the Lily, who had been talking to Alex earlier, was a demon. Freed from his wife's body, it transformed back into a girl in a fiery red dress. The white butterfly, following Aunt Clara's command, flew towards the demon and used its silken threads to bind it. After a few seconds, it vanished with the light circle from the strange old woman's palm. The rapid sequence of events left Alex utterly speechless. Lily collapsed to the floor and the light bulb flickered back on. The room still held the fragrant scent from when the butterfly had appeared. The old woman smiled and slowly approached Lily. Her finger touched Lily's forehead, quickly writing something. She gently patted Alex's shoulder and turned, saying, "She's all right. She'll just sleep for a while and then wake up. I've given her a spiritual mark. Whenever you need it, just put a drop of blood on it and I will come." After all that had happened, Alex felt as if he was dreaming. He didn't want to believe it was real. He looked at his wife lying on the floor and said, fear in his voice, "You're truly mad. A spiritual mark is supposed to protect, not condemn." The old woman simply grunted in response and turned to leave. After a few steps, she suddenly turned back and slapped Alex hard across the face. Stunned by the slap, Alex felt a throbbing pain in his temples. He closed his eyes, enduring the excruciating pain, then slumped down as a dark, swirling aura enveloped his body. He struggled for a while, then passed out without knowing when. "Husband, it's 7 a.m., time for work?" Lily's gentle voice beside him jolted him awake. And there she was, his wife, with her rosy lips and fair skin. He gently touched her, feeling her warmth. It truly wasn't a dream. He rubbed his head, still feeling a slight ache. "Did you have a strange dream last night? Why do you look so different this morning? Lily asked, worried. I think so. I feel like I had a terrible nightmare, probably just too stressed. Alex looked at Lily's forehead. There was nothing unusual. It seemed he really had just dreamed it all. He patted his forehead, then got up and went to the bathroom. Lily called after him, What did you do last night? All the dishes are broken. It took me forever to clean up. And the knife, where did it go? Hearing this, Alex felt a surge of unease, but he tried to reassure her, not wanting her to worry. I don't remember. Anyway, let's brush our teeth and go have breakfast. Lily nodded, watching her husband with a curious expression. A sense of dread grew in Alex's heart. That whole day, Alex felt a burning anxiety. The company held an emergency meeting because of a workplace accident in Lamdong. A worker had fallen from scaffolding and died on the spot. Alex and his colleagues immediately rushed to the site. The police had also arrived and parked their cars at the construction gate when a worker approached from behind, his hands stained with sand and cement. Seeing Alex, he stopped and nodded. Hey, it's working hours. Where are you going? I'm off duty. Someone's picking me up, the worker replied. Before Alex could say another word, the man had vanished. Behind him, a steel rebar was standing upright, as if holding a rigid human form for a few seconds. Alex quickly chased the worker out of the construction site, but outside, there was only a bustling stream of cars speeding past. A premonition told Alex he had just encountered a ghost. Following the young engineer directly supervising the accident area, Alex gasped for breath. The accident victim was the same worker he had encountered earlier. After a day spent at the construction site, achieving nothing, Alex dragged his weary body back to his room. Soft music emanated from his wife's desk. Perhaps Lily was scared and playing music to calm herself, as she rarely listened to music. Alex smelled the fragrant aroma of freshly cooked food from outside the door. He tiptoed in, intending to hug his wife. What are you cooking for me tonight, my love? Just some egg with pork floss. Go rest and shower. I'll serve dinner, she replied. Alex placed his bag down, gave his wife a kiss, and collapsed onto the bed. No matter how hard she worked, just having her by his side when he came home was enough to ease his fatigue. He only needed to push through a few more months to save enough money to buy the dream apartment they longed for. At least then they would have a decent place to live. As he was contemplating the new contract he had just received, his phone rang. His boss was calling. He slid his finger across the screen and put the phone to his ear. Hello, sir. Yes, I'm at home, boss. You said if I can sign the contract over there, my reward will be a free apartment for 5 years of work. Alex was so overjoyed he almost cried. His 3 years of hard work were finally paying off. All he needed now was to give it his all, but Lily was humming in the kitchen corner. He reminded himself that he had to work even harder. He took a set of clothes from the closet and went into the bathroom. He decided not to tell his wife, wanting to give her a big surprise. He wondered how she would react if he took her to a new house and she had no idea it was theirs. He smiled to himself in the bathroom. He whistled and called out, Have you showered yet, love? Do you need a hot bath? I'll run the water for you. There was no reply from outside. The music from the computer was probably too loud for his wife to hear him. He opened the bathroom door and looked outside. He didn't see his wife anywhere. Yet, the main door was closed tight, and the entire apartment felt subtly different as before. He was about to step out when he suddenly heard a knock from outside. Open the door for me, honey. Why did you lock the door? Alex slowly walked out to find his wife carrying a bag of fruit and fresh groceries, her face slightly annoyed. She looked at Alex, frowning. When did you come home, and why did you lock the door from the inside? You never lock it usually. Alex, hearing this, quickly said, When did I ever leave without telling you? Weren't you cooking in here just now? I didn't lock the door. Lily looked bewildered. Are you confused? I went to wash my hair at 6 p.m. and just got back now. I haven't even prepared any food. I just brought groceries home. Then who was cooking inside just now? And who was I hugging? Alex shivered as he questioned himself. Everything in this house seemed to contradict his imagination. He reached for the pack of cigarettes next to his desk, then sat down and lit another one, his voice trembling as he spoke to his wife. I just came home from work, cooked dinner, and then went to shower. But you said you went to wash your hair at 6 p.m. This is really confusing. Lily was slightly irritated. Oh, you're being strange. I already told you I went to wash my hair at 6 p.m., then went shopping to cook dinner. Don't you believe me? Are you hiding another woman in here? She joked, then added, What do you plan to cook tonight? The braised pork with eggs you like? Alex dropped his cigarette, his throat tightening. He turned to look at Lily. In his heart, Alex suddenly remembered the strange old woman from last night. Without a word, he went downstairs to the room where the old woman had stayed. But when Alex got there, the room was completely cleaned out with no belongings whatsoever. Alex shook his head, utterly confused. He was about to turn to leave when he suddenly remembered the old woman's words, something about a spiritual mark or perhaps tonight. He mumbled to himself, then turned back to his room. The phone on the bedside table rang. It was his mother. He picked it up and quickly answered. "'Lo, Mom? Oh, at the end of the month, Grandpa's death anniversary, so you two arranged to come home. Has Lily got pregnant yet? When will you two have children? Your dad and I are eager for grandchildren." Alex was a little impatient. "Mom, my wife just had an accident and isn't fully recovered yet. If there's any news, I'll let you know." His mother said something, but he could only hear the end because of her physique. Lily heard every word of Alex's and his mother's conversation. Unconsciously, tears streamed down her face. Such things weren't her choice, but fate. Alex knew she was deeply saddened by it, and he never let her do strenuous work. Wiping his wife's tears, Alex softly said, "Don't be sad, my love. Mom was just mentioning it. She didn't mean anything by it." Lily choked back tears. "Are you sure Mom didn't mean anything? Have you never seen those aunts and uncles laughing at me? You're the eldest son. If I can't have children in the future, what then, Alex?" Alex immediately panicked. "Don't cry anymore, love. You rest. I'll finish cooking. If not this year, then next year. If not next year, then the year after. Be good, my love." He hugged her, stroking her hair. Lily leaned into Alex's embrace, crying uncontrollably. She remembered the looks and veiled comments from Alex's relatives. At that thought, she suddenly remembered her stillborn baby. If only nothing had happened that day, perhaps it would be walking now. How old would it be? The sorrow welled up again. From that day on, neither of them spoke a word about it. After eating, Lily disappeared somewhere and only returned late, while Alex buried himself in work. He worked tirelessly to sign the contract his superiors had given him. Only then could his dream come true. Strangely, after the old woman left, all the mysterious occurrences in their rented room also vanished. Everything returned to normal, except for one thing. The neighbors in the dorm had started complaining about a rapidly spreading foul smell. It was also time for Alex's grandfather's death anniversary. The couple rented a self-driving car to return to their hometown for the ceremony. Being among relatives, Alex got a good price, saving some money. This wasn't to show off, but because Alex feared Lily would get tired from the long drive. Ever since her accident, he had always been this way. Now, even if his wife couldn't have children, it didn't matter. As long as they were happy together, Alex was content. Upon arrival, children poured out, their faces bright like flowers. Grandpa's great-grandchildren were as numerous as an ant colony. The only thing was, Alex's grandfather had 10 children, and 9 of them were female. His family seemed to be under some kind of curse. From his generation until now, there had only been one male heir. This had worried the elders greatly in the past, but despite consulting many masters, nothing changed. No one could find the cause. Dinner was already prepared, and the relatives were chatting lively. Alex quickly opened the car door for his wife, then hurried to the other side to help an old woman out. Earlier, at the village entrance, he had seen the old woman carrying a heavy basket, so he offered her a ride. Her hair was white and she looked frail, but her eyes were remarkably bright. "Thank you, young ones, you're too kind." Alex shook his head, indicating it was no trouble, and said, "It's nothing, Auntie. Just a moment, I'll borrow a motorbike and take you home. Where do you live?" "Oh, I'm going to the feast. Grandpa invited me yesterday, but today he's so busy he hasn't come to pick me up. I'm old and I've forgotten the way." "Whose feast, Auntie?" "Oh, Mr. Fuck's house." Alex felt goosebumps. He stomped his foot lightly to reassure himself, then gently took the old woman's hand. "Mr. Fuck and Mrs. Qui? Right. You know him, do you, Auntie?" "You must be mistaken. He's been gone for several years now." The old woman then cast a sharp glance at Alex. Her eyes had been closely observing Lily's every move just moments before. Her lips twitched. "Don't talk nonsense like that. Last night, he even came to my house to invite me to the feast. You shouldn't speak like that." "Alex, get inside. What's with all this chatter outside?" Alex was interrupted by the booming voice of his father, Mr. David. A man with rolled-up pants to his knees, his shirt stained with blood and chicken feathers. Mr. David warmly shook the old woman's hand, then gave Alex a meaningful wink. Alex's father immediately changed his tone and opened the car trunk to get their belongings. Alex had requested a few days off for this trip back home. Whenever he had the chance, he wanted to take his wife to her parents' house to rest for a few days. Mr. David waited for the old woman to enter the yard before pulling Alex aside. He linked his arms through Alex's and whispered with a smile, "That's your grandfather's old flame. She just turned 80. She was his first love. Later, Grandpa went to war and her parents forced her to marry someone else. No one knows where she ended up. We only know that when Grandpa passed away, she came back for a little while and then left immediately. This is the second time she's been here. For her to suddenly appear today, something must be going on. Who knew to invite her?" Mr. David quickly turned and walked away. Alex and Lily tried to pull their suitcases but couldn't. That was just his father's way. He'd carry their luggage himself, even if they had flown in. After a few steps, they heard the old woman's voice from inside. "You don't believe me, do you? How strange. My family has always had only one child per generation. How can anyone believe that?" "Isn't that right, everyone?" Mr. David put down the 2 suitcases and quickly walked over to Mr. Peter, the eldest son-in-law. Mr. Peter, like Mr. David, was a respected figure. Lily didn't understand why they were arguing so soon after arriving home. "Calm down, Auntie. You just arrived and you're already arguing." Mr. Peter frowned. The old woman said, "Your family is cursed with only one male heir because you committed a sin against the village generations ago. Everyone in the village knows this. Have you ever done anything unkind?" The old woman chuckled, pointing towards the village entrance. "Then let me ask you, gentlemen, do you remember the well at the village entrance? Of course you do. How could you not? I asked what they did, and the answer is simple. The single male heir curse is because of that well." The entire family looked bewildered at the village entrance, no one understanding what the old woman was saying. Seeing their innocent eyes, the old woman waved at a child in the house. "Child, bring me a piece of paper and a pen, please. A pencil would be even better." The boy quickly ran off. In a moment, he returned with a notebook and a pencil. The old woman gently patted the boy's head, then waved at Mr. David. She took a piece of paper, placed it on the tea table, and began to draw. In just a moment, a map of the entire village clearly emerged. Pointing to each house, she described the fate of the 5 households, leaving everyone gaping. Even Mr. David only knew about his grandfather's story from the old woman's account. No one had expected her to be so knowledgeable. Mr. Peter, after listening, suddenly burst into laughter and said, "What do these stories have to do with my family, Auntie? They are intimately connected, in fact." Then the old woman pointed towards Alex. Seeing this, Alex quickly walked over. Since entering the house, Lily had only greeted everyone and then stood silently, listening to the stories. Her heart was pounding as she heard the old woman recount each death, each misfortune of other families in the village, even whose buffalo had died, and how it was truly strange and eerie. "Come on, Grandpa Fuck's direct descendant and all of you, go to the banyan tree. Mr. Peter, you too, come here and listen to me." All the men in the house followed the old woman, while the women busied themselves preparing the feast. Only a few older aunts followed behind to eavesdrop. At the banyan tree, the old woman pointed to the well located on the lowest mound of earth near the village temple and said, "Do you gentlemen know why our village temple has so many earth mounds? If you knew, your family wouldn't be cursed with only one male heir, and several people wouldn't die prematurely each year. Am I right?" Everyone nodded silently. Mr. David was also worried. "If you know, Auntie, please tell us. Our family has lived here for so many years, we don't know what's wrong. We've consulted so many masters, but none of them could help." "Those masters were all fakes, gentlemen. You must remember that the village temple has to be built on dozens of such earth mounds, and that every year, the villagers' descendants have to fill earth to maintain it for a reason. If your ancestors hadn't foolishly listened to that wretched master all those years ago, your family wouldn't be so depleted. Your father told me all about it last night. I remember everything. I'm not making this up. The old woman is right." A man's voice suddenly rang out from behind. He looked around and said, "Years ago, the village guardian taught our descendants to build these mounds to protect the feng shui, preventing other villages from getting jealous and destroying our spiritual ley lines because of our prosperity. But your grandfather, with his own hands, listened to others and dug this well." The man looked directly at Mr. David and said, "Doctor, come to the well." He stopped and announced, "This is the main spiritual ley line of our village. It has been severed for over 100 years. That's also why your family never has male heirs. What should we do now, master?" "It's easy, you all go ahead. And all the strong young men, the more descendants from the family, the better, come here. Bring shovels, and you go prepare some offerings for me this afternoon, then it will be done." Looking at Mr. Peter, the man pulled out a stack of papers from his pocket. In a flash, everything was prepared. The entire family looked at the man skeptically. He had appeared out of nowhere and was suddenly conducting a ceremony. While everyone hesitated, Mr. David suddenly clapped his hands loudly, shouting, "Everyone, call all the young men here. Bring shovels." Less than an hour later, the well was filled. The ceremony was almost complete. The man walked out, shook Mr. David's hand, and said, "I apologize, sir. I was passing through this place, and the feng shui is beautiful, but unfortunately the village's ley line was severed. I couldn't stand by and watch. Looking at your auspicious face with good spiritual energy, you must be a leader." Mr. David nodded and introduced himself. "I am David." "Thank you, master. Do you think this will work?" The man replied, "I am Charles. So what do you think, sir? Is it all right or not?" Mr. David looked confused and replied, "I mean, suddenly filling this well. Is this respectful to the spirits of the underworld?" Master Charles was silent for a moment, then observed the crowd of young men. He pointed to the old well in front of the village temple and said, "After filling this well, I will show you how to repair the well in front of the temple gate. Is that where your male heir will be?" Mr. David saw Master Charles nod. Outside the fence, Lily had been watching. She pointed at the well because the water in it was always clear and cool. After her husband and the young men finished filling it, she dared to approach. She saw Alex smiling. She handed Alex a handkerchief to wipe his sweat and said, "It's funny, isn't it, honey? Such a beautiful well and they just filled it up." Alex smiled and replied, "There are some things you don't believe in, but they are real. I'll step aside so Master Charles can perform the ritual." Master Charles waited for the young couple to finish talking, then approached. In his hand was a piece of paper with his phone number. Alex saw it, took it, and politely said, "Master, please tell us." "You just look at it. Explaining this is too long-winded," Master Charles said, then turned and walked directly to the ceremonial table. The midday sun was already blazing, and the sunlight felt like it was scorching the earth. Everyone retreated backward as Master Charles stepped next to the well. "Please put the bamboo roots you just dug up in here to stop the flow, then plant them there," he commanded, pointing to the spot where they needed to dig. In a short while, the bamboo roots were laid down. Hundreds of eyes watched in astonishment. Until now, Mr. David and Mr. Peter had only known about severing ley lines with water, never with bamboo roots. After a long ritual of bowing, Master Charles finished and got into his car. Before leaving, he looked back at the young couple and shook his head. In his eyes, Alex and Lily were enveloped by something red and black. Perhaps this was their karmic fate. If so, this calamity would be hard to escape. After eating and resting, Alex secretly called his parents, Mr. David and Mrs. Susan, aside to talk in hushed tones. Lily watched him, curious. In the yard, dishes were piled high, and the aunts and other women were going to karaoke. Luckily, some younger relatives helped out. After talking with his parents, Alex quickly ran to the well, seeing his wife's smiling face and the children, which made him happy. He sat down next to Lily and said, "I've asked Mom and Dad, and we'll stay here today and tomorrow. The day after, we'll go to your parents' house for another day, and then we'll head back to the city." Hearing this, Lily's heart was strangely joyful. She told him to go inside and drink water with his parents and aunts. "I'll stay here with the children." Aunt Violet, one of his distant relatives, walked out of the bathroom, giving Lily a look that could kill. Alex didn't understand what her problem was, always so grumpy. Aunt Violet was only older than Lily but younger than Alex. Because she married into the main family, the person Alex was closest to became the youngest daughter-in-law. The couple had been married for 4 years and already had 3 children. Seeing Alex and Lily return, Aunt Violet sat down to gossip with the older sisters, badmouthing Lily in every way. Before Alex could even get up, his aunt swung her right hand, splashing water on both him and his wife. Annoyed, Alex was about to retort, but Lily quickly grabbed his hand, shaking her head. After his aunt left, Lily slowly said, "Just let her be, honey. Next time, you absolutely have to give Dad a good scolding." Alex looked at her and burst out laughing, and all the children laughed too. One of the children quickly said, "Uncle Alex, if he could stand up for himself, he wouldn't be Aunt Lily's private." Lily jokingly replied, "Your uncle spends every day in the bathroom giving birth, but he never gives birth to a human." Laughter echoed throughout the house. The death anniversary felt as joyful as a family celebration. It wasn't until late afternoon that everyone started to leave. The aunts and uncles went home, leaving only 4 people in the house. Alex and his father went out for a walk. His mother-in-law and Lily cleaned up the messy yard. Mrs. Susan quietly asked Lily about her secret worries. When Lily stammered, she sighed and asked no more questions, instead going inside the house. After a moment, Mrs. Susan reappeared, terrified, clutching a bamboo stick. Her face was ashen. Lily rushed forward, asking, "What's wrong, Mom? Why are you so scared?" "There's a snake in the house." Lily, who was afraid of snakes, only had her mother-in-law with her. She took the stick from Mrs. Susan and cautiously walked towards the door. As she stepped inside, the stick fell from her hand. On the altar, a large black snake lay coiled, its forked red tongue flicking in and out. Lily was terrified and stammered, "Mom, go call Uncle Alex?" As she finished speaking, Lily's eyes rolled back and she fainted. The snake was so big it almost covered the entire jackfruit wood altar. Mrs. Susan tried to pull her daughter-in-law out, but she couldn't. With no other option, she stepped back and with trembling hands called Alex on her phone. Less than 5 minutes later, Alex and his father were at the house. Seeing his wife on the ground, Alex rushed over. He looked up at the altar and saw the long black snake coiled there. Its eyes stared intently at Alex. Alex reached for the stick, intending to kill the snake, but his father stopped him. Mr. David glared at his son. Before he could say a word, Lily woke up. The snake had vanished as if it had never been there. Alex knelt down, supporting his wife, but saw her with vacant eyes. Then, Lily pushed Alex's hand away. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. She suddenly stood up and ran towards the back of the house. "This is the old house of the ancestors from long ago?" Lily pointed at the altar, her voice echoing. Mr. David and Mrs. Susan immediately understood and knelt, clasping their hands together, bowing repeatedly. Mrs. Susan grabbed Alex's shirt and gently tugged. "Your father is cursed." Alex was also surprised, so he knelt down as well. Mr. David slowly stepped forward and earnestly said, "We're sorry, ancestors. We're sorry that on the anniversary of your passing, we forgot to light incense for you. Please be merciful and guide us. We know our mistake." "You greedy gluttons, you ate all my share?" Lily stood behind them, her limbs rigid, showing her teeth in a smile. Her voice was now like that of a child, making everyone in the house tremble with fear. Then she laughed hysterically and continued, "The feast wasn't truly complete, but it still tasted good. My 2 grandchildren, they came back but didn't light incense for me. The other day, I saved them in Hanoi. Please, ancestor, have mercy on this couple." Mrs. Susan's tears streamed down her face, her heart filled with immense fear. She scrambled up to Lily and grabbed her hand. The spirit possessing Lily's body violently shook Mrs. Susan's hand away, then pointed at Alex and said, "You mustn't stay in this house. You mustn't." As she spoke, Lily collapsed. Alex quickly scooped her up, intending to carry her inside. Mr. David and Mrs. Susan followed. Mr. David and his wife then pulled Alex into a corner of the yard, urgently questioning him. "What kind of house is that, son? She warned you, but you still insist on buying it. You'll die. It's too much, son." Alex was now in a difficult position. "I didn't intend to buy it. I just completed a contract for the company, and this was my reward." "No matter what, if Aunt Clara says you can't live there, then you can't," Alex pondered, then agreed. After the ceremony that afternoon, he excused himself from his parents and took his wife to her parents' house in the countryside. The story of Aunt Clara possessing Lily left him feeling utterly bewildered. Lily, after waking up, remembered nothing of what had happened. After hours of talking on the phone, Alex managed to sort everything out. He and a colleague agreed to exchange their rewarded apartments. Alex needed a smaller place closer to his work, while his colleague's apartment was larger but further from the city. Alex and his wife preferred a quiet environment, while his colleague didn't mind the distance, so they decided to swap. The value remained the same. The holiday at Lily's parents' house passed quickly. The couple returned to the city, resuming their daily work. Alex had carefully planned everything. A month after their holiday, he surprisingly announced to his wife that he had 2 days off. On that day, he blindfolded her and drove her in the car. The car slowly stopped at the lobby of the apartment building he had secretly moved into without telling his wife. Everything was ready to welcome the new lady of the house. Inside, relatives from both sides, though not many, were there to witness the couple's happy day. When Alex opened the door, he took Lily's hand. He placed a small box in her hand. Lily used her other hand to remove the blindfold. Before her was a brilliantly lit room. In her hand was a house key and a pink ownership deed bearing her name. Joy and happiness mingled together. She dropped her bag onto the table and ran to hug Alex, then ran to the window, through which she could see everything around them. Though it was only a view of the lake, It was enough to make her feel incredibly comfortable. After the happy day of receiving their new home, Alex was busy with work. He was assigned more projects, and his workload increased accordingly. Lily, too, was busy with her online business. For some reason, ever since they moved into their new home, her goods had been selling 2 or 3 times faster. Alex's work was equally prosperous. All the old furniture from their rented room was moved to their new home. Lily felt a wave of relief. Finally, she and her husband had escaped the rented room life. On a Saturday afternoon, Alex got off work early. His colleagues invited him for drinks. Having had a few too many, he left his motorbike at the restaurant and took a taxi home. It was past 1 a.m. when he arrived. Lily was waiting in the hallway, frowning at the strong smell of alcohol on him. She helped him, guiding him to the bedroom. It took a lot of effort for her to remove his clothes, rub some essential oil on his feet, and then she sighed. She wondered how long his job would require him to drink so much. Her husband was usually gentle and would come straight home to her. He rarely went out drinking with colleagues. In fact, he never did. Looking at her husband's half-smile, her heart ached. When would she get pregnant again? He probably longed for it too. She lay down next to her husband and fell asleep without knowing when. The next morning, Alex woke up early. He prepared breakfast for his wife and then went to work. Every action was gentle. It had been a long time since he had seen her sleep so peacefully, as he was usually the one to wake up before her. Sunlight streamed through the closed curtains, making her flutter her eyes open. Perhaps she had stayed up too late last night, as she woke up close to 9 a.m. Remembering an order she had to send to a customer, she immediately jumped up, changed, and rushed with the package to the elevator. The road from her home to the city center felt busier than usual today, which she found strange. And it was Sunday. Why was Alex still at work? She wondered. As she waited in traffic, a motorbike suddenly cut in front of her. She swerved to avoid it, but it was too late. She was hit hard, falling onto the road. From behind, a truck came hurtling towards her. She tried to sit up but was hit by the truck again. Her eyes darkened, and her whole body trembled uncontrollably. In her unconsciousness, a child's voice rang out, "Wake up, wake up!" She tried to open her eyes but couldn't. She could even feel its presence. It gently touched her belly and said, "Mommy, please wake up and join Grandpa and Grandma. They're worried. Don't go with that red-haired woman." "Red-haired woman? Who's calling you Grandpa, Mom?" Her hands felt numb, as if something heavy was pressing down on them. Nearby, she heard approaching footsteps, and she could make out 2 distinct sets of footsteps. Lily felt as if someone was pulling up her shirt, and a dazzling light shone into her eyes. The voices around her were murmuring, but she couldn't make out any words. The doctor walked out, asking the surrounding family members to move aside. He gently pulled his glasses and looked around. Alex's family immediately rushed forward, asking, "Doctor, how is she? Is my wife and grandchild safe?" "She only has a broken rib and a slight neck injury. Fortunately, the fetus is safe." Alex was stunned by the doctor's words. Both sets of parents were overjoyed. So Lily was pregnant and no one even knew, but there seemed to be something else unsaid. The doctor pulled Alex closer and said, "Has she ever had a miscarriage before?" Alex looked down and replied, "Yes, a long time ago from a motorbike accident." "Then that explains it. She's quite weak. Her family should take better care of her." Alex grabbed the doctor's hand, thanking him profusely. His wife was pregnant again. After a long week by Lily's hospital bedside, both sets of grandparents had also arrived, looking weary. Lily wasn't fully recovered yet, so the couple decided to take the grandparents back to the countryside. Alex's paternal grandparents had already returned a few days prior. Alex took a month's leave to be by his wife's side and care for her. In the beginning, while resting at home, she constantly complained of hunger. For some reason, she also secretly bought cigarettes to smoke. At night, she would lock herself in the bathroom, sitting there alone. At first, Alex thought it was just the effects of medication or that her injury was affecting her mood. But to his surprise, Alex discovered she was eating raw meat, not to mention blood pudding, which she never dared to touch. Now she ate raw meat. During the day, she slept a lot and spoke even less. All of this made Alex ponder. As usual, he left the house at 5 p.m. to buy groceries. On his way, he recalled the strange old woman's words from the rented room, and then he suddenly remembered Master Charles's words. He decided to follow the strange old woman's advice. After cooking dinner for his wife, he helped her bathe. When he cautiously opened the door and stepped out, he saw his wife sitting confidently on the windowsill. He rushed over, grabbing her around the waist, pulling her back inside. Her eyes were bloodshot, almost red. She looked directly at him and yelled, "Let go of me." "What's wrong, love? Why are you suddenly so angry?" She remained silent, not saying anything, but walked to the corner of the wall and sat down, hugging her head, sobbing uncontrollably. Alex sat next to her, gently stroking her wind-blown hair. He softly asked, "What's wrong, my love? Aren't you worried about the baby in your womb sitting there?" Lily sadly replied. "I don't know, Alex." He asked again. "Then why were you sitting on the windowsill? It's dangerous." "I don't know," she said, then broke into sobs. She ate as if she were starving but wasn't gaining any weight. A question formed in Alex's mind. He followed the old woman's advice, using a needle to prick his fingertip and drip a drop of blood onto Lily's forehead. True to her words, there was a strange mark on her forehead. When it touched blood, it immediately glowed. He was still staring at the strange mark on his wife's forehead when his phone suddenly rang. On the other end was his mother's voice. "Son, come home quickly. Your father wants to see you." "Hello, Alex? Quickly, get out of the room, lock the door tight." "Hello?" Alex faintly heard a distorted, static-filled voice. "Hello again?" Alex held out his phone, looking at the screen. The call was still active, seconds ticking away. But for some reason, there was no voice on the other end. He was still wondering why Master Charles was looking for him and panicked, decided to close the door when he heard a whisper behind him and a cold breath on his neck. "Who's there?" Alex heard the sound and instantly trembled. Mom called Master Charles, the master who performed the well-filling ceremony in the countryside, remember? Alex froze. As he finished answering the question, he turned around and saw her standing right in front of him, her face pale, with sharp teeth as if she intended to bite him. Alex jumped backward, his legs trembling violently. "I have to lock her in, I have to get out of here." Such thoughts immediately raced through Alex's mind. He shoved Lily and ran out. As the room door slammed shut, Alex's phone rang again. On the other end was an unknown number. The sound of frantic knocking on the door, mixed with crying and laughter, echoed. Alex sat outside, worried sick. He couldn't understand what was happening. His phone kept vibrating and his feet unconsciously walked to the door. Just as he was about to put the key in, the security guard approached. The bright light on his face startled Alex. He looked at the security guard, bewildered, while the guard shouted, "What are you two doing?" The neighbors called management in the middle of the night. "You said your wife fell, but I checked, and the door was being violently slammed, and then your wife's cries came from inside the room." Alex turned to look around, but the security guard was gone. Only his phone remained in his hand, still ringing. He unlocked the screen and called back. On the other end, the wind howled, along with Master Charles's urgent voice, "Get to your room, don't open the door for anyone." Before Alex could reply, Master Charles hung up immediately. A flood of thoughts rushed through him. But right now, Alex could only sit there. He didn't know what else to do besides wait. What was happening to his wife? Why was everyone acting so crazy? Was it because he put blood on that so-called spiritual mark from Aunt Clara? The room door slowly opened. Inside, two eyes stared at Alex. The neighbor, curious, turned on the light and stepped out. Alex, exhausted, slumped against the room door. The neighbor silently walked over and offered him a pack of cigarettes. Alex had smoked before but quit a long time ago. He took a cigarette, lit it, and looked up. "Thank you," he said. The neighbor replied, "No need to be so polite. I live next door. I'm used to it." Alex looked surprised. "Used to it?" The man shrugged, as if he knew everything. "That's right. We're even betting on when you two will move out." Alex shook his head, looking confused. "I don't understand." The neighbor then looked around and said, "According to the security guards, a couple used to live in this room. They often argued. Then the husband jumped off the building because of debt, and the wife committed suicide, trying to find the cause of her husband's death." Alex gritted his teeth. So his colleague had already experienced this, which was why he so quickly agreed to swap houses with him. Clenching his fist, Alex slammed it on the ground. He was about to turn to thank the neighbor, but the man had already disappeared. The neighbor's room was still open. Alex turned his head to the right and saw Aunt Clara sitting there, right next to him. Her face was pressed close to his, smiling a chilling smile, a putrid smell emanating from her mouth. "Sleep, sleep?" Alex was so terrified he couldn't even scream anymore. In his mind, he could only see those faces faintly. Why did that face look so familiar? Could it be that what she wrote on Lily's forehead was something that could easily reveal the whereabouts of her husband and wife? If that were true, he had put his wife in danger. "My dear daughter, I've finally found you a worthy husband, someone who earns well and takes good care of his wife and children." The old woman's voice made Alex wake up. The lingering headache made him dizzy. He tried to break free but couldn't. His entire body was tightly wrapped in tape, and he lay on the bed, a smile still on his lips. The whole house was now bathed in red. She lit hundreds of candles, from the table to the floor, from the living room to the kitchen. All the belongings on the tea table and the floor were swept away by her. In their place was a portrait next to a small wooden box, likely containing ashes. In front of the portrait was a small incense burner with 3 neatly arranged incense sticks. Seeing Alex awake, she smiled sinisterly and approached. No one would have thought such a small woman could drag Alex like a rag doll. His back was turned towards the incense burner. She forced open Alex's mouth and pushed in a handful of rice and a copper coin. After that, she knelt and began to chant. Her murmuring made Alex feel a chill from head to toe. The wind from outside continuously blew in. In the light of the incense and candles, a girl in a red dress walked towards them. She smiled, looking at Alex. The old woman's body seemed to relax. He reached out and took her hand, then walked away. But before he could take more than 3 steps, Alex suddenly stopped. He looked behind him, then back at the bed. His unconscious body was still lying there, peacefully asleep. He knew he couldn't leave. At that moment, the door burst open. Master Charles, dressed in a yellow monk's robe, holding a monk's staff, rushed in. The old woman and her daughter frantically rushed to the window but were too late. Master Charles, as if anticipating their move, quickly locked the outer door, which was now tightly shut. The old woman and her daughter cackled. Aunt Clara continued to make hand gestures and seals. Immediately, 2 green spirits flew out from the pit. Master Charles was slightly surprised. Where did this old woman learn this? And she's trying to arrange a ghost wedding for her daughter. Are you insane? The old woman laughed maniacally. I'm insane, but my daughter's happiness is all that matters. With that, she pointed at Alex. The 2 green spirits rushed towards Alex, trying to seize him, but they couldn't. It turned out that Master Charles had been quicker. He had used his monk's bowl to capture Alex's soul and then jumped onto the table. The monk's bowl glowed, empowered by blood and Master Charles's chanting. He pointed the bowl at the 2 women, continuously chanting. When Master Charles was about to capture his daughter, the old woman knelt, burying her face in her hands, weeping. Master Charles, unaffected, pointed the bowl towards the 2 green spirits, capturing them. Immediately after, Alex's soul was returned to his body. Without hesitation, Master Charles pointed the bowl once more directly at Lily. Lily, lying on the bed, suddenly jumped up. Seeing a living body being controlled, he was extremely surprised. This old woman, he didn't understand where she had learned all these evil tricks, knowing her opponent wouldn't let her easily win. Master Charles pulled out an iron staff and charged. Before the weapon touched Lily's body, a black aura rose. The spiritual mark on her forehead immediately vanished. Knowing she couldn't defeat Master Charles, she pulled out a knife and lunged, dodging to the side to avoid his strike. Master Charles didn't expect her to take advantage of this momentary lapse to fly out the window, nor did he expect her to choose death. But even in death, he had to reclaim her soul. If she were allowed to wander in the human realm, she would terrify countless people. Alex woke up as the sun reached its zenith. In the living room, Master Charles and Lily were chatting cheerfully. Alex rubbed his head. What had happened last night that made his house so noisy? As he walked over, Master Charles smiled. Before Alex could greet him, the master spoke. How are you, young man? Did you sleep well last night? Alex was a little surprised and scratched his head. Yes, but I have a bit of a headache. How did you know my house was here? I don't remember anything, as if I've forgotten something. Do you know anything, my love? Lily also looked tired and replied. I don't know either. I just woke up and it was like this. Master Charles had slept on the sofa outside. Why didn't you let Master Charles sleep in the room, dear? My body feels so sore. Alex scratched his head and ear, unable to remember what had happened. Only Master Charles knew. What happened in your house last night? The old woman's corpse has also vanished without a trace. Master Charles, Alex, and his wife were like children, asking questions. All their questions were answered by the master. The most important thing was the joy when the master said Lily was pregnant with twins, a boy and a girl. Master Charles looked towards the corner of the house and smiled faintly, as if 2 small children were playing there. This birth of a boy and a girl was perhaps the most beautiful mother-child bond he had ever seen. After having lunch with Alex and Lily, Master Charles left. This was the last time Alex would see the master. After that, no one knew where he went. Alex and Lily were happily fulfilled with their twin pregnancy. Every time he saw his children on the ultrasound screen, Alex smiled like a child. Happiness wasn't far away, it was right before his eyes. but everyone kept searching for it.